See, when I got into this game, it's already 5 minutes in, almost 5 minutes on the nose actually. So I haven't actually taken stock of what's happening. It's a Soraka top. Oh, you filthy Soraka player! Come on, man. I already have no respect now. That's not what I wanted to see when I tuned into this game. But there's a Soraka top against Fiora top. It's a matchup the Soraka actually wins, as dumb as it sounds, just because the combination of Silence and Star Call is so infuriating for almost every melee top to deal with. Even Fiora, you just cannot kill Soraka unless Soraka misplays horribly. It's not a lane it's a lane that Soraka bullies. Soraka bullies most top lanes, and it's actually assuming like the rest of your team is even halfway competent, you can play Soraka and just win the game, because you can just keep the rest of your team alive indefinitely. The worst nightmare case of a Soraka is being fed top, and then you look elsewhere and the rest of your team are just feeding horribly. But if you even have one person that you know can like pop off or do pop off, it's gonna be worth it. See, Soraka just queues and walks away. Oh man, that's disgusting. That was a full-on damage dump too, and they just can't catch up to her. Oh boy. But enough about that. The jungle matchup, Echo against Lee Sin, very classic. Speaking of Lee Sin, that's a cheeky dragon solo. Echo's none the wiser. He's clearing Krug, so this is his next movement. He's probably not going to head up towards Drake Pit. Yeah, they keep ping bot. They're going to actually gank bot, so that means this Cloud Drake can be snuck away from under Echo's noses. Now mid lane, Talon against Silas. Bot lane is MF Leona. Classic matchup versus Thresh, Lucian, but MF alone on the side. Thresh does not have a hook. Silas gonna roam down along with the Lee Sin, who has just killed off the Cloud Drake. Cloud Drake dying also told blue team that it's probably time to just GTFO, which they promptly do. That could have been an amazing catch onto an isolated MF, but it wasn't executed in time. Oh, Silas. Oh, the hook barely clips the Leona. Just barely misses. Now, let's take a look at the scoreboard, because I did tune in 5 minutes in. Lucian has 1 kill, Talon has 1 kill, Lee Sin has 1 kill, MF has 2. So it seems like there was some early action going on mid and bot. Top lane, Soraka holding a CS lead. Actually ought to do in this lane matchup, honestly. So let's talk about Soraka top, because I demand credit for this. I played Soraka top in like season 6 and 7, back when nobody did it. The thing with Soraka top is you have a very oppressive laning phase. You can get away with not leveling W, and in fact you shouldn't when you play Soraka top, which means that early on in laning phase you have much higher and much faster power spikes. By the time you hit level 4, most other top laners, in fact I argue basically all of them. Oh, hold that thought. Can Fiora get a solo kill? The Silas chain misses, but there's no ignite. She just lets him go. Oh, that was 1 auto away. Oh, but here comes the Lee Sin. Lee Sin's here to clean up. He's gonna place the ward, does not actually see her. She's moving the other way. Here comes the E, and the Resonating Strike kills her off. Silas actually got assist on that, and Triumph actually healed him up. As hilarious as that is. So, same with Soraka top, right? So, you power spike earlier than other top laners, just by virtue of having more points in your abilities. Because one of your skills, you don't have to level at all. And your other 2 skills are bloody amazing. One skill is Star Call, which everybody continues to underestimate. Because nobody really knows how strong it is until you get hit by it for a few times and you realize, oh crap, I'm dying. And our other skill, point and click AoE silence. Like, what's not to love about it? Here comes a Herald. That's actually not a summoned Herald. It was actually a Herald that was in the middle of being killed, and he just chased the Lee Sin up. The tower dive, beautiful Resonating Strike. Killing off the Talon, the Lee Sin popping off this game. So let's talk about Star Call a little bit, because people don't respect this. People don't respect this until they get smacked enough by it and realize that, oh wait, I lost the trade. So look at Star Call, right? The tooltip right here is a level 4 Star Call. You take 180 base magic damage, which is really freaking high for a skill that you can spam for basically no mana cost. But Silas, the Ignite's taking on him, Fiora does not have ult, and they're going to walk away from that trade. Pretty even. So, 180 base damage, bloody amazing, right? 30% slow for 1.5 seconds. And the thing that's not on the tooltip, the faster the speed which Star Call lands depends on how close you are when you cast it. if you're casting it point blank, it lands so fast that there's no way you can dodge it. And the AoE is so large that when the enemy laner starts farming, you just drop it on the mini wave. They get hit by it regardless. It's incredibly hard to miss a Star Calling lane. And because the virtue of top lane, most top laners are melee, this problem doesn't really happen at bot, because at bot is a lot more dangerous. If you get caught out by a support CC, the ADC can pounce onto you or kill you. This problem doesn't exist top. It's a 1v1 situation for the most part. So you're getting guaranteed star calls. And most times, your top lane opponent probably cannot retaliate against you. Even if they can, they're not going to win that trade. And the reason for that is pretty simple. But if you're a Popster ultimate, Sylas takes the Echo ultimate, and he's going to blink back. Isn't enough. Kingslayer gives him a huge chunk of health back. Parallel convergence landing down, but Sylas wants blood. The chain lands onto the Echo. Fiora walks into Q2, gets chunked. And Petricite Burst kills out the Fiora. Excellent turnaround from Sylas on the mid lane. Red team doing great this game. But back to Soraka's discussion, because I know so much about this champion. So if you do get hit, you get rejuvenation. 140 heal. This is rank 5, but still. 140 and an AP scaling health. And this region offsets pretty much all the trades that can deal at you. 3.6 second cooldown, and every 3.6 seconds, you basically heal back like anywhere in the ballpark of 150 to 200 health. You're not losing that trade. And they can't even trade against you either, because you just Equinox them and silence them, and they can't actually burst you. If it's anything melee, top lane, you cannot beat the Soraka. Soraka can beat the Jax. Jax can stun you, and you just regen right through the stun. Like, he's sitting there smacking, you're taking no damage, and you're constantly queuing him and taking health away from him. And the Starfall also even gives you movement speed, so it's an excellent chase tool, so you can just queue him over and over. You could have, the Soraka could have even dove there. And if you really get into trouble, pop your ultimate. Like, there's so much room for error when you play Soraka top. The only concern back in like season 6 and 7 that's kind of preventing people from doing a lot of Soraka top is scaling past the lane. Especially season 6 and 7 was also a meta when the game was also a lot faster. The time I spammed Soraka top was the Ardent Sensor meta, where I know, oh my god, that heal. Where during the Ardent Sensor meta, you just really needed to get one ADC rolling. So that's kind of what inspired me to do Soraka top in the first place. I realized that, hey, if you just buy Ardent Sensor and lock it or whatever, and you put it on your one ADC, your ADC can just win the game. So I decided to run a support top lane. And that's actually where another experimentation came up with Nami. But it turns out Nami top has no wave clear whatsoever, you just get clapped. Even though in theory, Nami does contribute more to Soraka in a team fighting situation, especially during the Ardent Sensor days. But it turns out Nami's biggest problem was that she can't wave clear. It's a problem that Soraka doesn't have. And if you play Nami top, turns out it's like inting, which I found out the hard way. But Soraka doesn't have that problem. You can't out wave clear Soraka. That Q is spammable. It costs like almost no mana. Yeah, it's disgusting. The Soraka top is probably the most successful support experimentation I did. But back in the Sensor meta, it was just because people just didn't run her, because you can't really transition yourself out of lane. Like, there are tons of people wanting to kill your ADC, and there's only so much a Soraka can do before your ADC drops. But nowadays, the game has evolved into a state where you can definitely run Soraka top, build like decently tanky, decently AP, get a Grail, get whatever, transition into a bruiser-ish support, and they can actually hurt you. Like, look at this talent. Dude, it's not a winnable lane for top laners anymore. And that was never the problem with Soraka. The problem with Soraka top is once one tower drops anywhere, it's very easy to become useless. Nowadays, I don't think that problem exists to the degree that it did like 2 or 3 years ago. So this is now a pick that's gaining significant amounts of traction. Some of your biggest weaknesses have just been mitigated because the meta has changed. And Soraka has stayed the exact same. And recently, all the changes to Soraka over the past 2 or 3 years, and I personally went through a phase of that, was you just look at a patch. If Soraka's in it, you're like, hey, does this hurt Soraka top? And every single time I looked at it, the answer was no. Every patch made to Soraka, buffs or nerfs, either didn't touch how viable top lane Soraka is, or straight up buffed it. And that was really good. Now, in the meantime, let's go back to this game. Blue team takes a dragon, but drops a few bodies in exchange. I've been talking about this game because there's, for the most part, red team winning. But now that the towers are starting to fall and Talon realizes that he shouldn't stay top as a Talon, this game could get a lot more interesting. Soraka's gonna take this top tower. She has the second highest CS. Well, yeah, second highest CS on red team, third highest CS in the game. So where are blue team's advantages right now? Their bot lane is actually just slightly ahead. Their mid and top are definitely suffering. Sylas has been outplaying people left and right, and Lee Sin exerted a lot of pressure. But now the game has changed to a Mountain Rift, which Soraka loves. It's either that or Ocean Rift, but Soraka loves it. I argue that Soraka loves Mountain Rift more than Ocean. Not as much as Cloud. Cloud Rift is the best. Basically, the Wish heal gets scaled up so much because you're not on the support's income that you basically give everybody 2 health bars in a team fight, and it's kind of insane. Oh, Echo gets a drop on Lee Sin. Parallel Convergence, Legend for the stun. Lee Sin kicks the Echo away. Hook lands onto Leona, but Leona has her W up, so she takes almost no damage. Soraka still bullying this Talon, but here comes the Echo. Soraka does have very long cooldowns on Equinox. Can she walk away? Yes, she can, because the Q missed. There's no slow coming out. Talon will try to ult in. He commits all in, but only gets out the Soraka Wish. Soraka is still decently healthy, way more healthy than the Talon. Talon has to turn and run for the other hill. And now MF fighting against an exhausted Lucian. Lucian is so much stronger than her. MF bullet time does get put on cooldown, but doesn't even fire a single wave before Lucian dies. The Leona cleans up after the MF's mess, and now it's Leona versus Thresh. Does she actually go for it? She does! She commits the flash and stuns onto the Thresh, but that's not enough damage from a Leona. I don't know why she committed the flash. She's just gonna let him go. And the Thresh will lick his wounds and go back to home. Meanwhile, top lane, nothing productive came out of that. In fact, Talon died. Oh, Sylas forming a kill train with the Leona. Fiora wants the Leona. She cleans up Leona, dies to the stolen box from Sylas, and now Sylas flashes forward, getting out the Thresh fast as well. Thresh lands a hook over the wall, but he cannot commit for it. Lee Sin coming around, he wants this dive, but Talon is here. Lee Sin tanks 4 tower shots, that's enough to kill him. But that's also buys Sylas time to kill off the Thresh. Can he actually walk away? There's no walls for Talon to jump, and Lucian doesn't really have his dash up, so they cannot give chase to the Sylas. Sylas is gonna walk away, scot-free, picking up a few more kills, getting more and more fed, but he wants to stay, he wants more, he can definitely turn. The last thing you want to go against the Sylas is running to his face. That's definitely the last thing you want to do against Sylas. Talon ults and cleans up the MF, but Sylas claims another kill. Lucian should not have done that! Oh, that's the last thing you want to do against the Sylas. If it ever looks like you could kill Sylas, don't commit forward to kill the Sylas. That's what he lives for. In fact, Sylas takes last stand for that exact reason. Fiora wants to clean him up. No Kingslayer. 1,000 gold shutdown going on to the Fiora. Sylas did actually steal Grand Challenge, but he doesn't actually pop aside. And now Leona stranded 1-on-2, dying to the true damage of Fiora. But Soraka has made her way mid lane. She's going to take down that mid T1, sitting at 131 CS, farming up monstrably, going tank, which is the correct build. Or if you're like me and play full degenerate, you build Luden's Echo instead and just try to AP. It's definitely nowhere near as good go tank Soraka. Here comes the Thresh. The CC can definitely hold her down, but Thresh is silenced. He cannot pump down CC. Flay comes down. That's going to be the end of Soraka. She does put down a heal, but in a 1v4 situation, so much better to conserve it. Heal is not something you can just willy-nilly throw out. The cooldown on that thing is insane. If you're going to die anyway, heal prolongs your suffering. Oh, not heal, wish. Prolongs your suffering for like 0.5 more seconds. Just save it. It's the wrong play. Echo misses his bubble, but the MF is stranded. The Thresh hook misses, but Lucian gets the kill. Lucian 7-5-1. He's coming back into this game. He can actually win. Thresh does not find the hook onto the Lee Sin. Lee Sin's gonna run away. But now 4 members of blue team making their way onto the dragon pit. It's just the Leona and the Lee Sin. Can they do anything? Silas joins the fight. He steals the echo ult. He can go in pretty safely. He eats the hook, but that's not enough. He still has the ghost. Is he going to pop it? He does, but the burst does not actually hit anybody. Kingslayer onto the Lucian, taking him down. But he has dropped to critical health with no Kingslayer. However, blue team has run out of damage. They can't really hit him. Talon flashing in. Don't do that against Silas. Silas gets the freest kill of his life. But Leona drops to the Fiora. Did they buy enough time for Silas to get away? Did they buy enough time for his cooldowns? Silas, abduct, abscond, lands onto the Thresh. He kills him off yet again. Grand challenge going down onto the Silas, but reinforcements have arrived from red team. Now Lee Sin lands resonating strike onto the Fiora. Another abduct, killing off the Fiora for an ace. Just pick after pick coming out from the Silas. Rectum Prime has left the game because blue team surrendered. Wow. I just talked about top Soraka for like 10 minutes of this game. It was way less interesting than I thought. That's okay.